Good morning, DFW. In my objective to keep you in the know about important community developments, my update for you today is on the proposed and pivotal $1 billion 2024 capital bond program for Dallas. Key areas like homelessness, parks and trails, streets, economic development, flood control, and critical facilities are all on the radar. For those unfamiliar, a capital bond program is a structured plan using part of the city's property tax revenue to fund projects over time. While projects may take years to launch due to logistics like land acquisition and design, they're vital for our city's growth. Between October and November 2023, the Budget and Management Services will set the tone for all of these initiatives. As we discuss solutions, today I spotlight a model from our Texan neighbor, San Antonio, the Haven for Hope. It was regarded as one of the most ambitious civic projects that the city has ever undertaken to eradicate the homelessness issue, but they did it. This comprehensive facility addresses homelessness holistically, from shelter to social services, all under one roof. Remarkably, they've achieved a 77% reduction in homelessness. I'm thrilled to offer an exclusive behind-the-scenes look at the Haven for Hope in San Antonio, along with a conversation with the CEO of Haven for Hope, Kim Jefferies, Terri Behling, Director of Communications, and Alberto Rodriguez, the Vice President of Transformational Operations. This may well be the blueprint Dallas needs to craft a potent response to homelessness. It is my hope that we learn, adapt, and grow together. I thoroughly treasured my time in San Antonio. I hope you do too. This is like a college campus.
It is. It's 22 acres.
Yep.
With over like 500,000 square feet of interior space.
Well, you have a Y here.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
It's our child care center. So it's the
Well, yeah, I know you do
child
early
care
childhood.
center that's co-located in a homeless shelter in the country.
I love the Y.
Yeah. They're a great partner. Because what's cool about it is on the backside of the L Street, it's open to the community. So it's free for the children who are staying here to go, but then it's open to the community, so they're integrated.
So that's another key to success. We're in the poorest zip code of San Antonio, so the community having access to all of those services as well.
And so that's why they're outside the gates of our campus. They're our community facing part. And only about 40% of the clients they see are Haven clients. The other 60% are from the community.
How many kids are you all able to have as part of the early childhood development program?
I want to say, I think there are 100 and, I think it's like right around 100. Because I think last check, we have about 50% of them are ours, and then the others are from the community.
Okay.
But we have 350 kids on campus right
Got
now.
it.
Mm-hmm.
So we work with all of the school districts to make sure kids can stay enrolled in whatever school they were in before they came here.
Oh my
We're at
gosh.
380 kids, give or take, right
380
now.
kids, 290 that are receiving school transportation.
And oftentimes we'll hear
wonderful.
from clients with children after they leave, the kids are like, when are we going back?
So since we've started, since Haven started in 2010, our per capita homeless population has decreased by 30%. So
Got it.
like overall, but downtown homelessness, it was like immediate overnight. It was like a 77% reduction. So it was smaller at the beginning, and it's gotten obviously larger as it went on. It's 43,000 and change that we've served since Haven opened in 2010. So 43,000 people have come through. Close to 18,000 of those have been permanently housed or, moved on to higher levels of residential care, that kind of stuff.
Haven for Hope provided so many resources as far as continued counseling, which I needed. I got into the treatment center that was here, and it greatly changed my life. 10-month mark the former Pay It Forward executive director, just asked me if I would be interested in becoming employed by Pay It Forward. On April the 1st, I celebrated 5 years with Pay It Forward. And our board also voted for me to become the new Chief Executive Officer of Pay It Forward San Antonio.
I love this model. So first, it's finding the land. The city donated it, which is incredible. Secondly, how much is spent per year operationally? What is it, 20 million?
Close to 30.
Close to 30.
So 28 million annually. So we get about 60% of our funding comes from government, so local, state, or federal government, and then the other 40% we have to raise. So we have to raise about $10 million a year from the community just to keep operations. But our United Way gives us funds.
That's right.
Our founders company does a huge auction that raises like $2 million for us every year. So that
So you have some guaranteed income sources.
we have some guaranteed income sources from third-party events and those kind of things that help reduce that amount that we have to raise. Three things. The scale. I think the scale of it, for a few reasons. One, you can accommodate a lot of people, but also you're bringing together other partners, on a large scale. And so they can access lots of people to achieve their own individual mission. So I think the scale of it is important in kind of the model.
Yes.
The co-location of services is key. So eliminating barriers to entry and then access. So like the kennel, that's a barrier to entry. People don't want to come in
Without their cups.
Last year we opened. Yeah,
it's
and
true.
we have a category too.
Yes, that's right. That's what you said.
And so barriers to entry, or like couples rooms. We opened couples rooms last summer because men and women without children would have to separate and they didn't want to come in. So what are those barriers to entry? And then what are those barriers to accessing services? I mean, when you can have medical, dental, vision, inpatient treatment services, sober living services, counseling, mental health services, housing navigation services, workforce development services, so GED classes, ID recovery, parent training, all of these things in one place, SNAP benefits you can enroll here, all of those things in one place. You're not having to take a bus here, and then take a bus here, and take a bus here to get to all those appointments. It's all right here. And so what's unique about it is people learn. You said it's kind of like a college campus. It's like a small town.
It is.
And so people learn how to re-navigate community and reintegrate into community before they go back out into this large city, and they take those relationships with them. So I think the co-location of services, the design. I think the third thing is having the two options to meet clients where they're at. So on the north side of our campus is what you see as the college campus where the children are, where all of those things are. And so on this side, there are requirements for sobriety. You have to be sober while you're on our campus. You have to have an ID, you have to be a resident of our community, and you have to be engaged in a person-centered income and housing plan. So you have some requirements. But then we have the other side, the south side of campus, the courtyard side, where there's no ID requirement, no sobriety requirement, nothing. So you can meet people where they're at.
That's right.
And so I think without those two, we'd be turning people away on either if we only have one or the other. And so I think that's the last kind of component that I think is crucial in the design.
But the courtyard's also a little bit different, so it kind of serves as a safety net for anyone experiencing homelessness. So individuals get to come in, not necessarily engage with services, and then they receive the services that they need, the nights that they need, they move back out into the community, and we don't see them again until, again, something happens. They get kicked out of the place they were staying at, they come back for another days. So it's a little different from your traditional kind of shelter services for courtyard clients. That's why I think we see smaller engagement. But again, it's the services are there for everyone, so they take advantage of that. But we don't necessarily track where they're going to either, because it is low barrier. You can come in and out. You're not required to meet with your case manager and tell us where you're going.
That's incredible.
there's no time restraint either. So we have some clients who are here for years.
Wow.
And some clients who
That
are
was gonna
here
be
for
one of my
years that then
questions.
decide, like they may decide they do want to get help or they get on that med that they need for their mental health. And we've had several instances of that in the last couple of years where it's like, wow, they've been here 5 years and not accessed anything and now they are. And so that's a huge success. It's not just getting people a house, but it's somebody taking that first step to transform their lives. We celebrate all of those achievements.
And we've identified over the years gaps in the system because of the scale of Haven. And so an example is people who are trying to get into the local mental health authority here in our community. It takes 3 to 4 months sometimes to see a psychiatrist. Well, if you're on medication and from jail or the hospital, you only have a few days worth of meds. So we have a bridge psychiatric care program that's telemedicine. And so they can immediately get their medication done and shipped to them here and bridge that time until they can get into the local mental health authority. And so that's huge. That's huge for our clients because then they're not decompensating and, getting in a different headspace when they're waiting for that appointment just because those services and those systems are overrun. The other thing is, we're willing to always work with communities. Our founder made a commitment in the state of Texas in particular that we would help anybody who wanted to do this and help them figure it out, whatever that looked like. And so we're happy to help them have those kind of detailed conversations with whomever.
That's right.
It's interesting because there's a couple communities. So Wichita, Kansas is trying to replicate this, but they're doing it, as Terri was talking, outside of town. So they're doing it outside of town. And so
That's interesting.
we'll see how that pans out. So we're watching that one.
Yeah, because there's no DART or public transportation there, I presume.
I presume, yeah.
Switch.
Yeah.
Hospital, jail.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how much
But they have a philanthropist who has money and land that they're willing to donate, and so I think they're going that route. And then you have Las Vegas, who's trying to figure out how to do this model. I think they're going to do more of a split model, not necessarily. I mean, think about Las Vegas and they're landlocked. But they're trying to take these principles and integrate them into their homeless response system. We worked with them significantly over the last few months, and they just got $100 million from their state legislature to do this if the private sector raises $75 million. And so they're going to have $175 million to kind of put a model like this together.
Okay.
20% of the staff at Haven for Hope have lived experience, and we have found that really helps our clients to understand if they're sitting across from someone who says, I'm exactly where you were
Yes.
2 years ago, but look at me now. And so that really helps, and it helps for them to understand what our clients are going through and to walk them through their journey. So it's been a huge part of why I think we're successful. Every situation is going to be different. And the housing plans for people, it doesn't necessarily mean you want housing on your own. Your housing plan might be reuniting with your family.
That's right.
So that's why we sit down with each and every client, and there's not a formula that they have to go through. We're going to work with them on whatever goals they have.
And so many times people look at somebody on the side of the road or, in an encampment or wherever, and it's a us versus them.
Yep.
And so until we really start to see each other as humans and see our face in the face,
That's right.
and that being here in this
Yeah.
environment, it's you immediately are wow, without my support network, and if I would have had any of this trauma, this would be me.
That's
This is me.
Right.
And so you get to a
Exactly
point
right.
where you're this is me,
Yeah.
and then you engage in the solution. And so
Yeah.
until we can get people to be that's me, standing on the corner,
That's right.
it's going to be hard for them to really engage in solutions.
Yeah.
And so we need people like you
Yeah.
who can help engage in the solutions.
And whenever the media says, is there anything you'd like to add? I always say, treat people with compassion.
That's right.
You don't know what their story is.
That's
You don't know
right.
their situation. I know you're
No.
driving by them and you see them and you think, oh, they're lazy or go get a job, but something has
Yeah.
happened to them and they have a story, and we should all be wanting to make it better for them.
Yeah, this certainly paints a really good picture for me, at least in ways that I can
Help inform.
help inform and advise. Yeah, because it's a very successful business model.
Thank you for accompanying me to San Antonio today. By uniting our insights, we can uncover impactful solutions for our community. The concise recap you saw today only touched the surface of our several-hour-long comprehensive discussion and tour. We deeply appreciate the warm and insightful hospitality extended to us by the Haven for Hope. And for our third segment, we are highlighting a special coffee house in East Dallas, slightly east of White Rock Lake, named Well Grounded Coffee Community. The coffee was not only fantastic and some of the best I've had in a long time, but they managed to give motivated individuals who are barely surviving life a second chance. I hope you enjoy this as much as I did. I'll see you next Sunday. What lured me to this East Dallas gem was its noble mission, which is transforming lives through work, education, community, and faith.
I'm Natalie Huschek, and my husband and I founded the Dignity Project, a 501c3 nonprofit. We're sitting at Well Grounded Coffee Community. So hopefully when you walked in, this place you could feel that it was warm, cozy, and safe.
Yes.
All very intentional.
And they collaborate with other businesses to offer formerly incarcerated women a pathway to a brighter future.
We have to be a legitimate coffee house business that makes money so we can pay their paychecks and help get them to a living wage, which is harder and harder in Dallas, right? And we basically function as case managers and mentors. So you're doing it both at the same time, and it's just one day at a time. Learn something new every day and what it really takes to help someone's life transform. I just pinch myself that I get to do this every day, just to be a part of just transformation.
Her words reminded me that aiding others with similar challenges often reinforces our reasons for personal healing and the dedication needed to reshape our own lives.
The fact that you have an answer to that problem, this is a solution, is really special.
I love Well Grounded because of the opportunities they give to marginalized individuals, and the coffee is incredible. It's the best latte in the neighborhood. It's the best place.
The reason why I love Well Grounded is because it helps support our community.
I believe one of the most critical steps in changing our lives is ensuring that we surround ourselves with people, work, and environments that breathe light into our lives to continue down the path of positivity.
Right now, there are, as far as second chancers, we're walking with 7 specific families.
It's incredible.
And then we have barista mentors. That, it's funny, I always say we're all second chancers.
Yeah. Oh,
so the lines are very mingled.
That's right.
But as far as out of transitional homes, specifically 7 right now, and in the 3 years, 15.
It feels like home. It feels like home. You've done an incredible job for taking time out of your day to chat with us.
Oh, absolutely. And as you know, people come in here and say, why are you doing such a good thing? It's not that at all. Me getting to do this every day is what pulls me out of my own darkness.
Exactly.
Puts me out of my darkness.
This place is a gift to our community, and I hope you all make it out to the White Rock Lake area to treat yourself and breathe in some positivity.